All right, so today was overall hard session really. Start off with the squat like I usually do. Still ramping it up a little bit. It felt good, I'm feeling good, I feel rested. The deload week was actually really beneficial for me, not just because of the rest, but also because of just experimentation with different things, different methods, different ideas. Before the deload, as some of you guys know, I looked into the Westside a fair bit and listened to a lot of podcasts from Louis Simmons and Wenning and Dave Tate and all these guys who kind of trained with Louis Simmons, under Louis Simmons. And I try and implement some of these ideas, the white sand squats, the box squats, the good mornings, and just this general idea of GPP training. GPP is kind of like stands for General Physical Preparedness. It basically means you just do a lot of work and you build your kind of muscular endurance, fitness, all that sort of stuff. Louis Simmons also swears by sled dragging, kind of digging your heels in, having the belt around your waist and just kind of going for a walk with some sled thing behind you. Thought about buying this thing, but I just don't know how to go about, training it at home. If I drag it on the concrete, it's going to be a racket basically, and I don't really feel like doing that, especially around neighbors and things. So I thought about popping the sled in my car and going to a local park and just dragging the sled for like 20-30 minutes or whatever the case might be. But anyway, that's another thing that I'm kind of thinking about back in my head. Sleds are very inexpensive, and just kind of puts in some real attention to the glutes and the hamstrings. Listening to Louis Simmons, he solely believes that squatting is all about the posterior chain, and he actually says do not train the quads. I guess if you're squatting like that and you're just kind of sitting back, especially if you have a suit on, it kind of makes sense. But if somebody's squatting 1,000 pounds, man, that dude is very strong, regardless of the suits or not. So anyway, so that was a cool experience. But what I found was that all of my training was posterior chain, and I don't recover well with posterior chain training. There was no attention to the anterior chain, so I wasn't doing anything for hip flexors, abs, things of that nature. And it just kind of wore on me, and I got quite tired, of it and with it. And so, I went into the deload week and I started playing around with different things. Tried all sorts of things, man. Today, I hit a top set of 180 kilos on the squat, and that was kind of cool. Like, feels good, feels smooth. I'm still trying to get accustomed to the heavy weights. I know it sounds funny, but when you're doing 170 times 5 week in, week out, there's certain adaptations that kind of happen, and you're not that good at expressing the 1 rep max. Whereas, in the past, all I did was 1 rep sets every single day, and I got quite good at kind of bracing for one rep. So that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm going to try and put some more work in, not just with high, rep squatting. You'll see a video now. I actually started doing some walking lunges today. I did some walking lunges the other day, which I didn't record, I don't think. But a few days before that, I did reverse lunges. And my God, was I sore. Sort of the outside of the hip, glute med, glute minimus, even the TFL, like my whole hip girdle was really sore. And it got me thinking, when I was doing the box squats, I feel like a lot of attention is placed on the sort of the hip, glute max, minimus, because you're kind of pushing your knees out. Well, when you're lunging, it's very similar. Very similar. In fact, I feel like the lunges are even better, because unilateral leg work inherently is very heavy on the outside of the hip, and it balances you out. And I've been feeling really good. My hips feel really stable after implementing some walking lunges, reverse lunges, kind of unilateral leg work. So I'm going to keep that. I know I've experimented in the past with it. So that's kind of part of my program. So squats, walking lunges, I'm trying to incorporate walking lunges. And also another thing which I've started doing is pull-ups, some calisthenics work. So I did my usual kind of setup that I've done in the last week or so, which is kind of like sets of 5, you know, every minute on the minute. I say that, I think I'm doing it incorrectly. Basically, I take a minute rest. Whereas if I say every minute on the minute, I think it implies that does not matter how long the set you're doing, whatever's left in the minute, that's your rest. Whereas I'm not doing that. I'm actually only looking at the clock for my rest period. So I only rest for 1 minute. So as soon as I come down off the bar, I look at the clock, and then I hit it again in a minute. And so today I failed on the 10th set. So, you know, plenty of work there. Very good kind of lat work. And I just feel amazing. Like I don't know, man. I have fleeting thoughts of why I do what I do, and I you know, solely have concentrated on the squat, which is okay, and I've learned heaps with it, but I've neglected some other parts, and you know, some of the parts that I've neglected is my upper body, and doing pull-ups just feels amazing, man. Like my body feels amazing. I think it's something to do with decompressing the spine as well. Hanging is amazing for shoulder health, for spine health, for core, for lat work. Like it's just awesome. And I've also started doing push-ups as well. I'll put up the video here, but basically, oh man, push-ups. You guys know, for some of you guys have watched me for a while, I had a period where I kind of greased the groove with push-ups. That went on for a few months. I did all sorts of things, and I got to 70 reps in one set. Albeit some people have said it wasn't like, you know, official, you know, technique. You know, I wasn't locking my elbows or whatever, man. Like I'm not here trying to become the world push-up champion or something. I'm using push-ups for GPP essentially. So anyway, I've lost a lot of strength in push-ups. I've kind of detrained my upper body a fair bit, and I kind of knew going into some of the things that I did, you know, focusing so much on squatting. But basically the first set that I did 30. And then what I try to do is get to 100 push-ups in at least amount of time as possible. So I think the first set was 30, second set was 20, and then I did 5 sets of 10. And I just looked at the clock, you know, whenever I could do, like, you know, the next set, I just did it. This damn freaking fly, man. So yeah, so I'm doing push-ups, I'm doing pull-ups. I wish I could do the dips as well. I just don't have the implement. I don't have dip bars. I used to have a station, like pull-up and dip station, but I sold that, gave that away. So I wanna see what I can do. This rack that I have is just a generic, like it's a no-name rack, and I don't think I could get any attachments for it for like dip bars. But I really want to do dips as well. So I want to get into some calisthenics as well. Like it feels amazing. And last time I did push-ups as well, like my bench press blew up as well. I know some of you guys have tried doing that like me and haven't had the same results. But I truly feel like every time I do push-ups, like a shit ton of push-ups, you know, for a month or so, my bench just blows up. That's how I hit 140 kilos on the bench press. It's all about volume at the end of the day, guys. Like it's the good thing with calisthenics is that it hits your whole body, man. Like the push-ups is not just a pressing motion like a bench press. Your core is engaged, like your hip flexes, your core, everything's like it's a total exercise. Same with pull-ups. Like you'd think it's just lats, but it's not, man. It's even your triceps are working to stabilize your core. You know, Pavel Tsatsouline says all the time that if you don't have good core strength, you won't be able to do a pull-up. You know, a lot of people think the limiting point is the kind of the bicep and the lats, but if you can't stabilize your trunk, you can't kind of pull off of it. So anyway, that's where I'm at the moment. I just want to let you guys know where my direction is. So I'm going to continue doing the squats. I'm going to continue ramping it up. 180 today. Hopefully I do 190 today. I'm going to try and keep pushing it on and just working with calisthenics and walking lunges. That's how I'm going to get my GPP under me. Today I did walking lunges with 40 kilos. Man, like, just give it a shot, guys. Like, just give it a shot. Body weight, walking lunges, go for 20 steps, which is 10 each leg. If you want, you can go even further. But just be aware, you're going to be quite sore if you don't do any unilateral work. But anyway, that's a bit of an update. I know the last few videos I've just kind of put up singles and things that I haven't talked and told you guys what's up. So that's what I'm doing. That's where I'm at the moment. Feels good. I think I'm going to put on some weight doing this calisthenics and high rep work. But, you know, as Westside always talk about, the majority of their work, the majority of their training was GPP. Just doing basically bodybuilder type repetitions, just getting volume in. And from my personal kind of anecdote, every time I've done high rep work, my joints have felt really well. Every time I had periods of heavy lifting, even sets of 5, my hips start feeling not painful, but not comfortable either. Things just start hurting. But when you're doing sets of like 20, 30, heaps of volume, low rest periods, which basically means you're working with, whatever, 50, 60, 70% of your 1 rep max. When you're working around those type of loads, and you can kind of decrease the resting times, you get a bit of blood going. Blood is all the joints need. Without blood, without circulation, you don't get nutrients into those joints. And some, ligaments and tendons, they're not really vascular things. So without movement or heaps of repetitions, you're not going to get a lot of repair done. So I know we all kind of want to do 1 rep maxes year round, and that's all we want to do. But, from my experience, that you can only do that for so long before things start to hurt a little bit. And I think the hurting comes from the lack of circulation of nutrients into some of these joints. And I'm smart enough, I guess, or egoistic, not that egoistic, to just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. I know some of the guys like Dave Tate, they're all snapped up, and that's why they stopped lifting. That's why they stopped competing powerlifting. You gotta listen to your body, man. Like, I know to break records, you gotta push hard and whatever. And if you're an elite athlete, I feel for you, because sometimes you don't listen to your body just so you can perform better. But the longevity kind of gets reduced so quickly when you do that stuff. So you have to listen to your body, and I've always been like that. If something hurts, I don't push through it. There's no point. But anyway, just a bit of an update for you guys. A bit of calisthenics, bit of lunges, bit of squats. Tomorrow I'm hoping to hit 190, although I don't ever promise. Depends how I sleep, how I eat, and all that sort of stuff. See how I feel tomorrow. But yeah, enjoying it. I'm gonna work towards push-ups 100 reps, and I'm gonna see what I can do with pull-ups as well. Just more calisthenics. I'll look into getting a dip bar as well. And yeah, you might see me not transitioning, but I'll still squat. Squat is my baby. You guys might see me kind of doing more calisthenics workouts in the coming months. Yeah, I think the upper body does best when you do calisthenics. But anyway, I'm just thinking out loud now. That's all I got for you today. Tomorrow, let's see what I can do with the squat, and yeah, we'll go from there. See you guys.